Hi everyone, this is the E-mini S&P 500 futures. I'm using a 2000 tick chart and a 21 EMA. I've got my overnight high up here and my overnight low down here. These are our key levels for the day. So I started trading at 8 Central Time, which is this area right here, and notice we have this uptrend and we've gotten a break and we're pushing up to a new high. Now, when an uptrend gets a break and a new high, it's considered played out, because when trends get a break, you can expect price to attempt a new extreme. That's how they play out, and then you can look for a reversal. Now, when we push up to the new high here, it starts getting very choppy. This forms our overnight high. Notice we get this little breakout and then a quick fade back in, leading to this reversal pattern. It forms this, you can see here, first entry long, second entry long, failure. So that is a reversal pattern. It's a failed second entry. It doesn't set up perfectly. And I personally don't like this entry because we push above the EMA here and then we hold back above. We form a swing above the EMA, which is not ideal on a reversal pattern to go short. And so when we push up here, we even retested the overnight high, and then that wasn't even strong enough to push it below the EMA. So when the EMA is holding like that on a reversal pattern down, that's really not good. And then by the time we get this bar here, it's really just getting stacked up at that point. So that the entry was a little bit too small picture, getting choppy. What could happen is it ticks lower here, and then it could just form another leg up like this. Say it pushes a little bit lower and then just starts to make a second leg. It obviously might not make it all the way to there, but it could retest the overnight high right here, possibly stop you out, and then just get a little bit bigger leg because, this push up right here is obviously very insignificant compared to this leg up. So it could easily make another more significant leg up. So anyway, just didn't like that there. We push on lower here and we form this little downtrend here. So we go into this downtrend, we get a break, small push at a new low. It starts getting very choppy here. Unfortunately, nothing to take. You don't want to go short there just because you get a bullish correction off the EMA, bad signal bar, and also just a first entry. We push lower, stays choppy here. We get this first entry short. We start pushing up with a second leg, but obviously that second leg is very just sideways. It's basically just going straight sideways there. So I don't like that. I don't like that lower high right there because it's just, straight sideways. So anyway, we push on lower here and we break out of the overnight low. So when we break out of the overnight low, you can expect price to attempt to fade back in. Whether it's overnight levels, range levels, price, when it breaks out, it generally attempts to fade back in. And so you want to see 2 attempts to fade back in before you buy the breakout, or in this case, short the breakout. You don't just want to you don't just want to short the breakout just because you're getting a couple bars pushing out, closing on their lows. Because again, it could easily attempt to fade. Now, we had a very, very strong move out, particularly strong, and then it, just shot on through this measured move right here. We had that measured move in play. It almost acted like it wasn't even there, just pushed on through. But then we did get 2 clear legs retesting that level. So at this point, we have our 2 attempts to fade the overnight low, and it's retesting this previous level with a nice strong reaction to it. It did have this little STT right here, but it did overshoot. Overshoots do lead to breaks, which of course the main reason I was okay with this is just because it's a bigger picture entry with a lot of momentum down. Even though this is overshooting this trend right here, clearly it's forming its own trend, and we can look to make a second leg down from here. Because even though you have these 2 legs down here, it's pushing through, retesting it. It already has its 2 attempts back, so you can expect another leg down. And so I like this right here. We push on lower here. We form this, on a bigger picture. Even these 2 legs down right here are 1 on a bigger picture. And so we continue lower here. It kind of just gets choppy. We don't get deep enough pullbacks. It just goes sideways, and then you don't want to enter into that chop that we just formed. So anyway, we push on lower here, and then we get a break. So now this downtrend has a break and then 2 pushes at a new low right here. Now, there's nothing to get in on here. After that first attempt lower here, when we push up, we could look to get in on that second attempt, but I would want it to pull back more. In this case here, you're entering right into those lows right here. And then also, of course, we just don't get a good bar. So there's really no way to get short here on that second leg at a new low. But we push on lower here, make that new low. Well, it actually did make that double bottom right there with those bodies. You can see it barely made a new low. But basically, it just starts finding support right here, making a bottoming pattern before pushing on up. Now, when we push through the EMA here, this is a good place to look for a reversal pattern. Of course, you want it to be big picture enough. You don't want a little tiny one because, it could just be just part of this, clearly there's some kind of slope down. But if you push up and get a clear reversal pattern, then you can look to get in on that. You can look to go long. Now, when we push up right here, you can see that to the tick, we do technically form a reversal pattern. It's just not good enough to enter on. We push up, 2 legs back, so we have first entry short, second entry short, and then failure. But it doesn't even reach the EMA, so that says enough right there. We cannot take it. We push on up. Now we can see we have these 2 legs up here. When price attempts to reverse back down, the EMA holds, which means that we can start looking for a wider trend right here. So you can view it like, at first you have leg up, break, new high, which eventually turns into this uptrend right here. We get break, new high. It attempts to reverse back down, which, hold on, I kind of mixed up the legs right there. After those 2 legs up right there, this uptrend played out with a break and a new high. It attempted to reverse, but the EMA held, so we can look for a wider channel. And when this uptrend right here gets extended, we get a break, we can look for a new high, because when it attempted to reverse after this wider uptrend, because of course at first it was these 2 legs up, turned into this leg up with a break and a new high, it got 2 legs down and it still couldn't reverse. It ended up pushing back above. And so that's when we consider this whole thing right here as one leg, and then we look to make that second leg up, and then we push off and almost reach that measured move there. So anyway, we push on up here, we get these couple legs back. Now, when we break this uptrend right here, we can look for a long. If we get a break and push above with a couple legs back, holding on, a nice F2E above the EMA, expecting to make that new high, then we can get a long. But in this case here, we just get these couple legs back. It starts getting very choppy. When we start pushing above the EMA here, we end up just closing right back below when we form the swing, and then it still can't get above even more. So even though on this bar we suddenly just push on out, there's really no reason to take it, because you basically just have 2 legs down and then 2 attempts higher already at that point. When we draw this little measured move here, you're basically entering into the high of a 2-legged move up. That's really just not ideal. So anyway, we push on up here with no entry. We get this first entry long. Of course, it's just off the EMA, just a first entry. I would want to see 2 legs back to the key entry point here, not just a first entry off the EMA. Push on up, get this higher low. It's not even off the EMA. And then when we make this new high, you can see here that we clearly make 2 attempts down. Of course, if we got 2 legs down to the key entry point, we could have gotten a long, but in this case here, when we start making that second leg down, it's just really forming chop right here. And then of course, even on that entry bar, you don't even have the swing there. So nothing to take there. It's just kind of choppiness, nothing to take. We push on up, nearly reaching that measured move. We push lower here again. This would have been a great place for this second leg to reach that key entry point, because you can look to go long to make that measured move. But in this case here, it's does the same thing. It just goes choppy on that second leg. We push up again. At that point, it still hasn't reached it. It's within a tick, but it could very easily just count as if it reached it, because it's not always going to reach it to the tick. Sometimes it'll come very close, and then that'll be good enough. And so we push on lower here. Now, when we push lower here, considering we just met this measured move right here, and we're getting a strong push out, we can get a push lower and then 2 legs back up, making a reversal pattern, because a reversal pattern after reaching a measured move is very likely. But in this case here, it doesn't happen. It just pushes back up here. Looks like we're almost forming a double top right there. Now, if you get a break and then, ideally, if we get a break and then it doesn't form a reversal pattern, we would just get another leg down. And so then you would basically have like a big picture failed second entry. And so that can still happen. Now, you might not get a long at this entry here. If you don't, then what could happen is you push into a smaller entry back above the EMA, like a higher low or a smaller failed second entry, to make the new high for this uptrend. But and another thing is, when you have this measured move in play, and you can, because 2-legged breaks are very common, you can look to get a short on the way down to that if it sets up good, because of course you still have to consider this uptrend is likely looking to make a new high. So if it's actively setting up a bigger picture 2-legged break, you can look to get short on it, but you have to be very careful and make sure it's a really good setup, because it doesn't have to reach all the way down here. it could just hold on this EMA right here and push up. So if you get a good, push down and a clear entry though, then you can. So anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I hope it helped out in some way, and thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next time.